Hello, welcome. We are
Hello.
another episode of Share My Queendom. We are on episode 22. We've been doing this quarantine style entertainment and conversations. I'm joined by two amazing people that are continuously inspiring me, and they don't even know because I don't tell them, which is really bad, but they do. I'm always watching and reading and just getting life and then going about my business. So first I'd like to introduce Alexis.
Hey.
And Alexis is a psychotherapist, that's right?
Yes.
Isn't it? Yeah. And Carnival Queen. I'm so jealous of the outfits and stuff. I'm like,
forever a feather.
Forever a feather. Love it.
Feather. I'm telling you.
Love it. And you go to carnivals like globally as well, don't you?
Worldwide. Trinidad, Barbados, Grenada, Antigua, Jamaica. I mean, we'll get into it because obviously this year I've only been to one, so it's stress.
Yeah. You must be itching.
Mate, I'm picking out of carnival cups just to make myself feel better.
Oh man. Well, thank you for joining me today. Thank you for answering the call at short notice. And we also have Dwayne Nosworthy. Did I pronounce that right? Nosworthy.
You did, yeah, because a lot of people like to say Nosworthy. And it's not nose. There's no E. It's Nosworthy.
Good. And Alexis I've known for a long time, from back in the day when I used to be weekly in Departure Bar, just shaking a foot.
Yeah.
And I used to be down there all the time. I'd work every now and again, not very often. I was just there to rave, to be honest.
But you used to work too, I
did work,
a little bit.
Yeah, come for a brandy and then go back to work.
Exactly. Yeah. And I was always there on call to do it.
Always there to top it up. Always there.
Always.
And then I was about to say, Dwayne, I've known for a long time too. When I used to pretend to be a dancer and hang around with the dancer crew. And
of course.
Had moves for days. And man, it's just been a long time. We've just kind of been there, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's been a very long time.
Yeah, a lot of mutual friends, etc. And and you do a lot of motivational just stuff. I remember you wasn't really a social media guy.
Nah, I wasn't that guy at all. I'm learning to be now, but it's still a learning process for me.
I remember I never used to see anything, and then all of a sudden I started to see stuff, and I'm like, okay, but it's always very positive and inspirational stuff, and you was going hard with that, and that's what I loved about seeing your stuff. There was nothing that was going to trigger me ever.
Or trigger you in a good way. There's good triggers as well, people don't actually acknowledge that.
It's true. I've never said trigger in a positive way,
that's the thing. That's why I started sharing. That was the purpose of me going online. I was like, I need a purpose in it. I don't want to be on there just for on their sake. I need something more. And I was like, oh, okay, I can be on there sharing like what it is that I am and other elements of who I am, and being positive is a major part of who I am.
Yeah, that's true. I wish more people would do that, to be fair. So what have we got here? So I've got a few questions. So today I didn't even put up the title. So the title is a strange one, a pandemic, which we're all in worldwide, global pandemic that I've never seen in my lifetime. The authorities are killing my people. Like, my people have been dying. Our people have been dying anyway, but it's the authorities. That's the madness about it. The people who we actually go to for help, they're the ones killing us. And then we're just expected to just keep it moving and be normal. So we're going to go a bit into that because it's actually a bit mad. Everyone thinks they're fine, but it's a big thing that we're dealing with at the moment.
1000%.
So what I wanted to ask you guys, how are you and how are you mentally? I'll start with Alexia. Sorry, Alexia.
First of all, I'm reflecting on the fact that my initial thing was going to be, I'm all right, you know. You?
Yeah, we all do that. All do that.
I'm good. I am at the end of like an October break, so I've been doing a lot over throughout the pandemic.
You do a podcast as well, don't you?
Yeah, so I've got like a YouTube thing. I've got podcast. I'm a psychotherapist. I've got creative stuff. We've been doing virtual rum tastings. We've been doing so many different bits. Rum tasting later, but we're doing so many different bits. Sometimes you have to check in with yourself to work out why are you doing so much. Like, is there a reason you're doing so much kind of thing? What are you running from? What are you not listening to? Sit down, second.
Right.
But then, yeah, in terms of the question, how am I? I think at the moment I'm good because I took this break. So I was doing a lot of stuff. I had a bereavement, not COVID related, but I had a bereavement. I had a breakup. I had in my work life, there was a suicide of a young person. And it was just a lot of stuff that was happening. And like on the kind of like the 3rd, 4th of October, I said, no, we're not doing this. And I just stopped. And then I was like, you know what? I'm flying out. And I flew to Dubai. And I just sat down. My best friend lives in Dubai. I sat down, had a breath. I cried, went to a couple spas, drank lots of drink, cried again, you know, and mentally and emotionally now I feel like I'm in a lot better place than I was at the beginning of October.
Right.
So yeah.
Wow. I didn't even know that. Wow. But you made a big effort to, you know, self-care and really look after yourself.
Yeah.
Really important.
I'm sure we're going to get onto it, but which is my big thing is that we have to be looking at that self-care. So it's all well and good saying there's a lot, but if you're just continuing to do the lot but not doing anything to look after yourself, it's going to run yourself down.
What about you, Dwayne? How are you and mentally?
Well, I might sound like the people a minute, like just the normal reaction is that I'm all right, you know, but I genuinely am. Do you know what I mean? I know that's what I sound like to people, but I've been really good because I don't know, like as I said earlier, I really thrive in being positive about everything. Do you know what I mean? I'm solution driven. I see things as what they are, and although they're challenging, I kind of go, all right, I'm always winning as far as I'm concerned. Either I'm winning or I'm learning, so it's always a win. But for me, I've seen this as a perfect opportunity. Strange, I'm not gonna lie and say that there hasn't been no challenges, because there has been, especially financially. Being a creative, there's just been nothing for us. Do you know what I mean? So you feel kind of like left out into the cold, but ultimately I've got a lot of love and a lot of support that I feed myself first and foremost. And then I attract it right back to me and those that surround me. So I've been good in that sense. I've got a lot of love, I've got a lot of support, and I don't take that for granted. Kind of like what you said, Lex, I really look after myself. I do a lot of self-care. That's the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is, how you doing, D? What are you saying, big man? Are you nice? Yeah. Look in the mirror and say, you are kind of hot though, still. You are. You know, I preach the thing into my body, into my veins. I genuinely love who I am. And I spread that and share that with myself and others every day.
It's true, because I get your messages and stuff every, you know what I mean, regularly. And it's like, you know, some people that send a lot of messages, sometimes you're like, oh, not today. But you're like, I would never like block it, because I know there's certain times you send one and I'm like, I needed to hear that one. That's the one I needed to hear. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm not missing out. I'm not gonna miss out on any of that. So thank you for all of that you do, because it's effort. You put a lot of effort into it as well.
Yeah, it is. But you know, with consistency, what I found is that, like, there's a saying that I was told about, and I was like, oh, that's really true. Anything you can do is easy. Do you know what I mean? So when you're doing it, after you do something consistently enough, it becomes easy. Do you know what I mean? It's just that first step is difficult. But once you're doing something enough, it becomes easier. It's habit.
Yeah, like, you're in your rhythm, and it just joins in, and it's part of your rhythm.
So being positive is a part of my daily effort rhythm. You understand? Like, so even especially when things are challenging. Like you said, Lex, like a lot of things have happened during this COVID, during this quarantine. Like my sister has got colon cancer. You know what I mean? I've dealt with a lot during this time, but I have to also recognize that not everything is mine. And that's quite difficult to do when it's people that you love and care for. But I can't lose sleep over something that isn't mine, because I can't lose sleep over what is mine. You understand? Otherwise I'm gonna make myself ill. So I have to really take time and treat myself with care. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's about being able to be positive, but also being able to be truthful towards your emotions.
1000%.
It's like, okay, it's all well and good. You know, some people out there might be saying, oh, you know, it's all well and good, you're positive all the time, but what about when? And it's like, yeah, that's right. Like you spoke about, colon cancer and things like that. Nobody's we just have to sit down and smile and but it's great that this no. We're saying that possibly you acknowledge the fact that my feeling right now might be sadness, or we acknowledge the fact that my feeling or my emotion might be this. However, I can still be positive while acknowledging the fact that something rubbish is happening.
I think that's the difference as well.
Sorry, Char, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say that some people, that's exactly how I think it should be. Like, know what you're feeling and recognize it and then work on it. Rather than some people ignore it and say, I'm fine, I'm happy.
Exactly.
They're literally just ignoring it. And one day it's just going to burst out. And next thing you know, you're running down the street screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do that. It's what I actually call it. I use the AAEE philosophy, which is I acknowledge, I accept, I experience, and I embrace every single emotion. I just don't become it. So I feel sad. I feel upset. I feel frustration. Sometimes I want to box people in their mouth.
Right.
But I don't become that feeling. You understand? So whatever it is that I'm feeling, I don't become it. I just acknowledge it, like you said. I accept it, I experience, and I embrace it. I don't become that feeling. I know that it's a human experience. My spiritual experience knows better. So I live by that.
Yeah. Before we go on to the next question, someone did ask, but how do the most positive people stay positive all of the time? That you can't kind of answered that, really.
1000%. You have to accept it. You have to, like, however you're feeling, you have to accept it. So then that way you can be solution driven and you can get the positivity out of it. So like with every situation, there's good and bad. Like, which one are you going to focus on, the good or the bad? Do you know what I mean? Don't ignore the bad though, like you said, Char. But I focus and feed everything that is gonna. I feed everything that's gonna benefit my soul, innit? Like, why would I feed anything that's gonna not benefit me?
Yeah. Have you or any loved ones been affected mentally by, any loved ones that you know of, mentally by recent events? By recent events, I mean, obviously, COVID-19, just all the killings, what's happening in Nigeria, what's been happening in America.
I think maybe just because of the kind of line of work I'm in, I would hear the people that have been affected by it. So, for example, the people that I know that are, I'm going to start that sentence again. I find sometimes on social media, the people that I see being very, hey, you're right, let's go, so great, will like message me on the side and be like, oh, it's a bit of a mad one right now, you know. And I feel because again, there can be that need of like, okay, I need to push forward. I need to be the Black Panther. I've got my Black Lives Matter something in the back. So every single Zoom that I'm on, they know what time it is. You know, I've got to spread the information about NSARS. I've got to send out the messages on a daily basis. I've got to do, and at some point, sometimes some people tip into being affected by it because it no longer becomes something that they just naturally feel like they're driven to do, kind of like what Dwayne said. But it now becomes, I have to be that positive beacon of light.
Yeah, and then it becomes the pressure to keep it up.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Which, as I was saying, is something why at the beginning of October, So I was doing on a weekly basis, doing my podcast, doing my shows, whatever. I was like, I'm tired. And I just put a message out and I was like, I'll be back in November. Like it wasn't a thing.
There's a song.
Say that again.
Is it Maria Maria? There's a song. That's sorry, I just heard the lyric that you just said, but go.
The lyric that she said is definitely from a song. I did the same thing, and my head went, but I had to relax. I didn't want to get lost in it.
I don't know what it was.
Gone to November or back to November. I can't remember. There is a song.
Michael F. John, Gone to November.
Yes.
I'll be back.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
And I didn't even mean to do that. Anyway, but so yeah. So it's just that type of thing of like, actually, you know what? As we keep going back to it, don't be pushing yourself through. And I feel like the people that I see that are most affected by the events, and it's what I keep putting on my social media, take a break. If you're in where people keep forwarding videos of trauma, I don't need to see black trauma porn in my group. People, stop forwarding things. If you don't open the picture, don't open the picture. If you don't want to follow the hashtag, don't follow the hashtag. Because if it's affect you, you've got to think about the impact it's going to have on your emotional health and well-being.
Yeah, there was a because I was looking up. I tried to do a little bit of research, before I come on, and there was a couple of terms that I wasn't really aware of. And what you said, what you just spoke about, sounds a lot like, is it compassion fatigue?
Compassion fatigue, yeah.
Yeah, like you would know, that's your area. And I was like, I've never heard of that before, but reading, the symptoms of it, I'm like, I could see how that's so easy. You want to help, but you just get really tired, and sometimes it's like, not today. I can't do the whole fighting every cause every day. And
that's what, I guess that's where compassion fatigue comes from. Again, it can happen to therapists a lot. It happens to me, every single day, 5 sessions a day, six days a week.
Just hearing problems.
Sad. Oh, that must be really tough. Oh my gosh, that must be. And sometimes you just want to be like, I'm done. Like, I can't take anymore. But again, I'm out. And it happens to people. We all know those Instagrams that we follow that are always fighting every cause and doing everything, and it's tough. It can be tough.
Craig says older people love to send chain messages, 4 to 25 people to receive your blessing. It stresses me. It's true.
Stop it.
It's true.
Definitely.
But you know what? I feel like they're getting better now. I don't get as much as I used to. I think they're getting the message.
Maybe like, I find, like, for example, like my mom is definitely getting better at like dealing with this stuff, but she is really emotionally generous. That's what I call it. Like, she's like, you understand what I'm saying? It's like, like you're talking about compassion, like fatigue. It's like a lot of people are showing a lot of empathy and compassion for everybody outside of themselves, but where is it for themselves? So I'm like, that's why you're compassion fatigue. Like, you're not doing it. That's why you're like emotionally drained. Like, you got to fill your cup up. So I'm finding a lot of people that are finding it mentally hard. Again, obviously, I'm showing them compassion and some empathy, but ultimately, I can't take that on. I just have to be like, all right, how can I help you? Do you know what I mean? But ultimately, how can you help yourself?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Like you said, Lex, like, what are you doing? Like, you got to take a break. You can't keep watching the same things. Keep reading the same things. My mom is an LBC queen. Love her to bits. She could probably hear me talking now. I'll be like, don't talk about me, do you? But it's real talk. Like, I love my mom to bits, but I know for a fact that she gets, like, anything that's happening to our black boys and everything that's like, she feels it. She gets that emotional impact. And I understand that because I'm an only child and I'm a boy child. So when you're hearing about things that's happening out there, there's, you're worried about the COVID. So you're washing your hands. I'm like, Mom, I'm 41.
Yeah.
Of course I'm washing my hands.
And listen, there's many 41-year-old people out there that work. Let's just put it out there. However,
I understand, but I'm my mum's son, innit? Like, what do you think I was doing, Mum? Do you know what I mean? My mum's like Mrs. Clean. If anything, I'm telling her to, like, stop, wash your hands so much. My mum is your hand it's going, it's disintegrating. She's got her fingers look like this now. I'm like, no, man, relax.
Oh man. I also think there's another thing that I saw. I think it was on Instagram. Empathy burnout, which is another.
Yeah.
And when I looked at the symptoms for that, I recognised it because I remember when like when my dad died, like 13 years ago now. And I remember I was very vocal about online anyway, I'm online, like very vocal about things. I was always talking about it. I thought I was doing myself good by, letting things out, talking about it. I was at any rally, any march, any anti-knife crime event, I was there just to feel like I was doing something, But then I had so many people contact me who had similar situations, who had been through the same thing. And then I just started to feel a bit almost numbed to it. Do you know what I mean? When somebody that I know might say, oh, so-and-so's died and they're struggling with it. Like there was a point where I just didn't feel anything.
Yeah.
It's just like, just not feeling anything. And I feel like that's something that can happen. You just become desensitized to things, like with all of that sharing and stuff, like you were saying, Alexis.
And sometimes over this, like, empathy, from an empathy burnout standpoint, it's like, again, therapeutically, you're consistently hearing things that are difficult, and you can fall into this sense of, yeah, that must be really hard. Yeah, that must be how do you really believe that's really hard?
Yeah.
It's actually now just your default response because that's what you should be saying. You know what I mean?
1000%.
And I think that's what happens. That's why sometimes people don't believe I'm a therapist, because I will also, if someone's doing foolishness, I'll be like, no, I don't actually feel sorry for this person, or I don't feel any empathy towards this person. They're just doing stupidness and they need to stop. And it's like, it's really making sure you're able to differentiate between he deserves your level of empathy and empathy you can give. Like, it's okay to say, I don't have space to feel right now.
Yeah.
1000%.
Definitely.
1000%. And there is a difference between empathy and sympathy. So like that right there, you can sympathize with someone, which I understand is an emotion that we should feel. I just don't lead with sympathy because I'm not into just, that sympathy for me is just, no, that can fade to black. I'm not saying we can't acknowledge it again, but it's not something I move forward in, you know what I mean? And it's okay. It's all right.
Yeah. For real. We just had a couple comments about over just watching too much stuff, hearing too much stuff. So moving on to lockdown, we went into lockdown when March. We're like coming up to the 7th month. The year has literally flown by. And I've seen so much things on Instagram. Oh, if you're not using this time to re-educate yourself or to gain a new skill, and for some people, that is just, people are just trying to survive a day, so seeing stuff like that can make people feel really guilty, like, oh, I've had all this time off and I haven't moved forward, or I haven't done something. But then I've seen some people counteracting that and saying, just look after yourself, just stay sane. What are your views on that type of comment?
For me, like, again, I'm really, really big on, like, why are we so quick to talk? Why is everyone so quick to talk about something that's none of their bit? Like, mind your own, innit? Like, let me feel like, why you talk? All right, one thing works for you. I don't know if everyone knows the same, but it's different strokes for different folks.
Right. Yeah.
Not one thing works like for everybody. That's why I'm not interested in the conditioning and how society tells somebody to be. Like, I'm not interested in that. Stop telling me that I need to do things this way or that way. Like, again, show some empathy, show some compassion. So for me, I may have a preference of how I like to do things, but that might not work for you too. So I shouldn't judge you and you shouldn't judge me. How I'm doing, we should just be open to listening and understanding. Ultimately, what works for you works for you. What works for me works for me. We might find common ground. We might not. We might disagree. But as long as we can show each other some love and respect in moving forward, it's all good. But a lot of the time, people are talking and they're judging and they're casting their judgment on people. So people are now feeling guilty because they're like, right, is this what the majority are doing? When it's like you said, they're just trying to survive. Like, let them find their way. Help them. You're not helping them by judging them and casting your your judgment on them. Like, who are you? God don't judge me. Why are you judging me? Go ahead.
And I think that is true. And I think that's the same thing. To me, that's social media all over, you know.
Yeah.
Always going to be somebody on there judging. I saw another post similar to that was like, you know, if we come out of this pandemic and you haven't called my phone, don't call my phone again.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Just like, listen, people are out here in their house bawling. People are they've lost their job, they're furloughed, they can't even pay the rent. Maybe they can't pay the phone bill to call you. Yeah.
But did you call? Did you call anyone? You're there saying if you never call me, did you call anyone?
That was my follow-up. Because for me, I'm just like, so we're now in this very weird tit for tat situation where friend A is supposed to check on friend B, but if friend B doesn't, that means friend A ain't nothing. And it's like, we're just going back again to this judgment. And to me, social media is just very good at that, in terms of social media, depending on who you follow and what you follow, is very good at making you feel like crap.
Yes.
So all of these things, to me, you know, I had a nice little social media clear out over the months, you know, people that, you know, wanted to slyly defend Trump, gone. All the people that were slyly defend Karen, gone. So, you know, little something. But remove the judgment. Just remove the judgment. And that's all it is. So in terms of the question, in terms of productivity versus slow down, and I've definitely done a mix of the two.
Yeah.
In times where I'm like, raw, business is booming, let's go. And then there's been times, weeks on end, where I've watched Real Housewives.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for real.
That's a program, you know. That's the way she just. That's what I was watching.
That's what I was.
I've been watching Married at First Sight, like back to back.
Oh my Lord. You've been watching that?
You know what? I've really enjoyed it. Like, I watched the whole series of the UK one.
Okay.
Right.
And part of me is like, I don't know, I don't know if I'd do that. Maybe I would. At first, you'd be like, hell no, you wouldn't. But it's very good. Like, the way that they match the people and the amount of professionals and the scientific ways and whatever, how they put people together. I'd love to do that, but not have to marry them. Like,
I understand. You'd almost like to do the experiment, but you're like, do I have to go through with the actual experiment?
Yeah. Yes, like the UK one.
Maybe like
good
partner at first sight. Like
partner at first sight.
Right. So
even they get married and then they have to go on a honeymoon and then they have to live with each other. Like, it's all crazy. They literally don't set eyes on the person until they meet them at the altar.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wouldn't mind doing, okay, you match, you're now a couple. Even if you have to go on holiday with the person, or even if you live together for a couple of weeks. Do you know what I mean? But that whole marriage.
Yeah, it looks like you know those ones where we're trying to just put things into how we want it to be. Like, no, I'd do it, but if we just take out, because I don't really like carrots. So if
I want the carrot cake. I need
exactly
carrots.
Like, I love a carrot cake, but don't put carrots in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been enjoying that. I think I don't feel like I've had a chance to slow down, and I know I need to. And you know what? Because I'm working from home. This spot where I am right now is where you'll find me almost 24 hours a day. And I feel like work has become busier since I've been at home. I don't know whether it's because they think, oh, you're at home. I don't know what they think, but it just gets busier.
Access to you in your yard. They have full access because actually it's a pandemic. You're supposed to be.
I know where you're at. Don't lie about what you're doing.
Right. You can't say, oh, I'm just in this room, or oh, I'm just at a meeting in the council. You can't say none of that. You're in your house.
It's just become a lot. And I work for a charity, and I love the charity and everything like that. People are lovely. But when you keep seeing email, each email, there's an action.
Yeah.
So now that action is going to take me a little while, and then there's more, and I just feel like screaming at the computer sometimes, like, can you just leave my inbox alone? Just leave me alone. And I'm like, by the time it's finished, I feel like I've been out at work. I might pop downstairs, get a snack, and I come back and I sit back here.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, do I just move into another room for a different environment, or
might give you a little different effect still.
But this is
in the summer I was like, oh, I'm going to take my laptop, I'm going to sit in the park, and what doesn't happen once. I was romanticizing about all this time that I had at home.
I was saying in terms of NHS, like I've been telling people, listen, I manage an NHS team, and I'm like, we are not working from home, ladies and gentlemen. We are working from home during a pandemic.
Okay? Yeah, exactly.
Wake up today, and actually your energy is not giving you the same amount of productivity as it would have been if we were working from home last year. That is okay. Like, it's all right if you are not working at your optimum productivity level.
Understood.
That's okay. Because this is not just like a work from home where I can take annual leave and fly off and go on. It's not normal. Yeah.
It's not, when someone says they're working from home, you're like, yeah, working from home. Like, you just expect them to be at home watching TV. Like, it's not that. I'm literally like this, you know, and they want video meetings every minute. So sometimes I just want to get up. I don't want to comb my hair, but I have to all the time. Why do you need to see me?
Yeah.
Oh, it can be a lot. It actually can be a lot. And I mean, I've been a little bit productive. Like, I started share my Queendom during the lockdown, and that was a part of self-development, because I'm not good with speaking, etc. So that was just something to get me speaking, because I don't know, maybe growing up as a only child has something to do with it. I literally didn't have to speak in my childhood at all, other than going to school. So yeah, this was to help with that, to be honest. But yeah, mixture of the two. Super productive, time to slow down, self-care. I think
it's the two, and I think it's also just whichever one it is, whenever it is fine, because it's nobody's business but yours.
Exactly, 1000%.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, where was I? When you start feeling off key, what is the best thing to do, and what do you do? Well, we kind of heard a little bit about what Alexis does, but what would you advise to other people?
Notice that you're feeling off key. Acknowledge. I'm going to be seeing that AAEE thing. I'm going to rewind and work it out. Acknowledge. Yeah. So acknowledging that you're not feeling okay. You're feeling off key.
Yes.
And I mean, I think obviously it works differently for different people, but then I feel like from the acknowledgement, it's then okay, what do I now need to do with this? Is this something that is just going to pass if I just take a couple deep breaths? Or is it something that actually I need to journal about? Or do I need to call my friend? Or do I need to actually go for a walk? Like, working out what it is that you need in that moment. And if you don't know what it is you need in that moment, taking the time to sit down and work out what you need.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think just reflecting on something that Dwayne said earlier, which I love, is about not becoming the thing. So the thing that you're having, fine, acknowledge it, wonderful. But your aim is to not become it.
Yeah. What about, like you were saying, like obviously you manage a team, and you're luckily, because of your type of work, you're able to recognize things and let them know that I understand you might not be feeling a certain way, but don't feel bad. Obviously there's not a lot of workplaces that would be like that. Do you know what I mean? They're not understanding, they're expecting the same amount of work. How would somebody approach their workplace? Because I'm not really feeling it, isn't not going to cut it for a lot of places.
I feel like we need to remove the stigma of actually saying and admitting. And I'm very aware that there's lots of workplaces that people would not feel comfortable to do this, but I feel more and more we need to feel okay to say, I am anxious today. I am feeling fearful today. I am feeling stressed out today, whatever. Because I do feel there has been a change. I don't know stats off the top of my head, but I do feel there has been a change in industry's understanding of the impact on their workforce, what this is doing. Do you know what I mean? And that's more from like a mental health thing, from an understanding that people's emotional and mental health and well-being has been impacted by what has been going on. And I'm feeling okay to go to your team leader. And if your team leaders are waste, go to HR. If HR are waste, go to your, I don't know, would it be pastoral care? What would it be? Like, find somebody. I feel it's about finding somebody to actually, you know, write a letter, write an email.
Or join the union.
Join the union, exactly. And just get that advocacy, because there are every workplace which should have some kind of advocacy, some kind of support system in place that can help you say what you need to say. You just got to find it.
Definitely. I agree. You've got to be active, man.
What do you do, Dwayne? Like, if you're feeling a little bit, all right, not feeling, I know you have what you said earlier, but if you're trying to explain that to somebody else who's feeling it, you know, when you say just be positive, for someone who's in it, they're not hearing that. They're like,
no, that is what I get asked a lot of the time. It's like, are you just saying just be positive? Well, how do you do that? Like, and kind of like I explained earlier, there is a process. There are steps that you need to take, and acknowledging it, like Lex said earlier, and I said earlier, you have to acknowledge, you have to accept it, you have to experience it, and you have to embrace it. You've got to take those steps. Like, how you are feeling is, you're allowed to feel that. Because a lot of the time people just think I'm saying, just be positive, man. What's wrong with you? So what? Just be positive. I never said that. Like, genuinely, I wake up and sometimes I'm like, I don't feel right today. So what I do is I sit with that. And by sit with it, I don't mean I sit with it all day, but like I take steps to go, okay, I'm feeling this feeling, right? So I ask myself those questions like why, and if I don't have the answers, I don't overwhelm myself trying to figure out everything. I don't overwhelm myself trying to. Do you get what I mean?
Sorry, I do this all the time. Sorry, people don't realize that positivity is a journey.
Serious.
And that's from what you're talking about there. That's what it feels like. It's like, it's not just people see positivity as like wake up and the day is great. Like, steps. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's like, it's every day. So even when I'm feeling good, I'm doing these things. A lot of the time, what people forget as well. Yeah. So when it's all good to be good when everything's good. You understand? So people forget to take those steps when things are good. Like, so when people say, what's going on? How you doing? I'm good, you know, work's good. Do you know what I mean? Romance is good. Me and the missus is good. This is good. This is good. Everything's good. You can take the survey of life, and be like, everything's good. Then one day, something hit, and it throws off your whole thing. All of a sudden, all that was good is no longer good. Like, you see, when things are good, I'm still working on me being positive, you know. So it's a daily journey. It just means a lot more when ish hits the fan. And you're able to deal with it when ish hits the fan, because you've been doing the work. When you've been doing the work every single day, even when things are good, when I'm walking down the road and I'm smiling, like, or I'm walking down the road and I'm frowning, I'm doing the work in order to turn my frown into something else. But I'm upset. I acknowledge it. If people say, what's the matter with you today? I don't feel right today, you know. I don't feel good. Do you know what I mean? But I'm working on it. Do you know what I mean? And then I find everything that makes me feel better, be it my kids, be it making a phone call, be it just cooking up a food. Do you know what I mean? I fancy ice cream. If it's eating that, whatever it is, I do that within reason, you know?
That's the part I miss, within reason.
Balance.
I just been eating the ice cream, you see.
Balance is key. Balance is key. Like, you've got to do everything like with balance, realistic balance as well, because the thing is, and that's different for everybody else. Like, you might feel like it's the ice cream that's making you feel good. You and I both know it's not the ice cream, it's just the moment.
It's a mask. It's a mask.
Right. And that's what most of these things are. They're like paracetamols, they're placebos. They're not actually dealing with the issue. Do you know what I mean? When you got a headache and you take a paracetamol, it actually hasn't dealt with it. It's just masked the pain until the pain goes, and then now you can move on. Do you know what I mean? When I deal with a hangover and I take a little Nurofen, hasn't dealt with it. It's just masked it.
Yeah.
Now I can carry on doing what I was doing until the pain is no longer there.
Yeah.
But you can't do that with reality and life. You can't do that. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I genuinely realize as well, like to answer that question on a real, I genuinely realize that everything that is happening to me, right, is a human experience and it's not a spiritual one. I genuinely tell myself that every single day. Like, all of these things are part of the human experience, and that's okay. Good and bad is going to happen. But my spiritual experience, my spiritual being is going to continue. It's legacy. Like, I'm leaving a legacy here. So I tell myself that every day. Every single day. I know I'm epic. I'm not gonna lie to myself and tell myself I'm not epic when I know I am.
I think there's that weird thing that people seem to think, though, that, you know, there's that statement about, like, you know, fake it till you make it.
Yeah,
I got a new one for that. It's started till you are it.
I want to address this comment here, because Lucan is somebody who we bicker about this thing all the time. Because if you ask him how are you, he's good. He's always, never once you will hear him say he's not good, which to him is great, because he's always happy. But I know there's times when you're not happy, but you would never hear that.
Right.
And what I said earlier about like when you're not feeling good, but what you think you're doing, positive mental attitudes. No, just act happy. Push it to the side. Hide it away here. I'm happy.
There's a difference. There's a difference between the pushing it to the side and, I'm happy, I'm lying to myself, when really inside you're feeling like absolute rubbish, but you're just saying, oh yeah, I'm happy, everything's great. That's very different. And it's a subtle difference, but it is very different to actually, like Dwayne's talking about, in terms of the actual steps towards a positive journey. So for example, when people talk, and I think people think these things are cliche, but like, I've got stuff, pick cards like up just randomly around my house, and it will be like, what does that one say? Like, you have immense powers.
Or, like, what's her name? Is it Mary? What's her name? Mary Jane did that in her program. That is it. Mary Jane. There was a series, one of the many series I watched, and I forgot what it's called. Is it Mary Jane?
I did it.
It is called Mary Jane.
Or Mary Jane.
Yeah, well, she clearly got it from somewhere, but yeah, she had post-its all over the place, like all over her room and stuff. And a lot of people copied it as well. And not as well as in you. Anyway, yeah, you know what I mean.
So right. So it's like, if there are things that remind you, like I might, like dotted around my house, I've got little things that remind me of positive parts of my journey. I've got a little something on the side that reminds me of a wonderful time with my uncle. I've got a little something over here. So just when I'm moving through life, in any space that I'm in, I've got little reminders. On my work desk, I've got like a picture of, and the girl's name has now gone from me. What's the bar-led girl from Black Panther?
Being Mary Jane. Sorry. Thank you, Rachie. That's what I was trying to...
I'm going to watch it. Is it good? Is it Black people?
Thank you. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Thanks, guys.
Okay. So if Mary Jane did it, wonderful. We should all do it. You see what I mean? It's kind of putting those little things around at work. I can't remember her name now, but the bald-headed girl from Black Panther, the warrior.
Yeah, I don't know her name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yes.
I know that at work there are certain levels of foolishness that I have to come in contact with every day. So I just have my little warrior on my wall. Yeah. So every, might be a little minute, and I might be like, someone said something and it upset me. And I'm like, oh no, warriors, okay, let's organize. Do you know what I mean? And it's just about having those little things. Doesn't mean I don't cry. Doesn't mean I'm not sad. Doesn't mean I'm not upset, angry, frustrated. But the journey steps in terms of what I'm telling myself and reminding myself of what I am and who I am, always be central. Even if I waver, that core, sometimes
it's a constant thing, like Dwayne was saying.
Yeah,
it is. You have to stay on Faith Street to receive those packages.
Would you call those good triggers? What Alexis was saying about, having a memory, like a good memory, just dotted around the place. Every time you see it, it just reminds you of good times. And
everything, man. Like music, like we all love a little music. You play something, there's that nostalgia in it, and it just brings you back to a place you can't ignore. There's none of that trying to ignore and pretend something isn't happening or hasn't happened. You can't do that. But you have to feed, lead, and just move with what you know benefits you most. You know, and that's what I do every single day. I don't lie to myself.
Exactly.
I tell myself the truth. Do you know what I mean? I'm honest with myself. Like, if this don't feel right, I tell myself it don't feel right, and that's okay. Now what, Dwayne? Now what? That's what's after that? Because there's all well and good. Like, I just feel like we're so quick to do what doesn't benefit us, but when it comes to what does, we're not as quick. We're not as quick. We're not as like mobile. We're like, that's why everyone's quick to judge and talk. Like, if we're saying something now, there might be people that might jump on and be quick to say something that, like, well, I think it's this and I think it's that. When it's like, we're out here trying to do something, not even trying. We're out here doing something positive. We're out here doing what we feel benefits us and others. Why you got something to say that won't help that?
And sometimes though, we do have to learn, because I didn't wake up like this. I didn't.
Yes, you did.
But like, sometimes it's a learning, and this.
No, I understand what you're saying. Of course,
I advocate for therapy. The world could be in therapy. Everybody doesn't agree with me, but if the world could be in therapy, I think the world would be a better place.
But that's because they need to understand what you mean when you say that. It, like, therapy doesn't have to be this way or that way. Therapy can be in. The point is, the world would be in a better place if everybody seeked therapy. You're right. Fact.
And it's that kind of thing where actually, if you've got somebody that's able to reflect back to you those things, you can learn. You know, we go to school to learn how to do 1 + 1. We go to uni to learn how to do blah, blah, blah. Sometimes you have to learn how to do this.
Same thing for our mental state and physical and emotional state. Same thing.
Like the same way how some people will just regularly just go to the doctors for a checkup for their physical health, just to check.
1,000.
It's the same way with your like, just go for a check. You don't have to be bad man, don't need therapy.
And this is the thing.
That's a man, isn't it?
Of course. And this is why bad men will continue lying to themselves for the rest of their lives. It's okay.
You see, here's the problem that we have as men. See, like, man, we find it really difficult. Again, this is part of society's single. This is part of our learning, though. It's part of what they taught us to be. Like, man up. Man shouldn't cry. Man can't be vulnerable. I've learned that in my vulnerability, I have been my strongest. In my vulnerability, like, during those times I've had to cry, I've learned so much more about myself that I'm more of a bad man than I ever was before I thought I was a bad man.
For real.
Do you know what I mean? Now I'm a better man. Now I'm a better man that can teach my daughter how to be loved. I can teach her what it looks like to be loved by the first man in her life. Do you understand? And I can teach my sons what it looks like to be a man. So I can teach them through my mistakes and through my joy and through my, do you know what I mean, my bonuses and everything, because they will see me and how I deal with that. If I've dealt with something in a way whereby, like, that weren't the right way to deal with it, they see how I dealt with that. I'm a living, breathing example. Do you understand? Unapologetically as well. I let them know what it is. It's like, I apologize for things. Well, people just call me, you know. Just like, I swear that AZ's calling me, you know. Well,
you should have sent in a link.
You know, people sometimes they don't understand how beautiful it is to be vulnerable.
There's a question from Miss K. Do you think it's a fear of being vulnerable that makes people always respond with "I'm cool" when that's not how they truly feel?
1,000%. I think sometimes.
With me, it's not even that. Like, I don't really have a problem with speaking about my feelings, but I don't want to talk to everyone about it. So sometimes I will just say I'm cool to end the conversation. Like, I might not be cool, and I will speak about that with whoever I want to speak. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's literally just that.
I think it's definitely just a general response, because you know, before you've even, I think also a British thing is, you're right, you, like, you know what I mean? And before we even know, we've turned around and we've left each other. So I think sometimes there's trying to work out, is this person actually asking me, are you right? Or is it that kind of, I guess, weird British hello, which is like, you're right, and you're not actually asking how the person is actually feeling. And again, a therapeutic tool, which doesn't have to be a therapeutic tool, it can just be a life tool, is like when you say to somebody, how are you? And the person says, I'm cool, leave a silence. Because so quick to jump after the I'm cool.
Yeah.
Necessarily had the opportunity to think about actually how they're feeling. And if you leave a little pause, I mean, I don't do it on purpose, but if you leave a little pause, the person usually leads with another sentence.
Yeah.
Something else will come after. So it might be something to kind of back up that I'm cool. Like, yeah, I'm cool because I saw this and I did this. Or it gives a little space for I'm cool. Yeah, but work's been long, you know. Like it gives
opens, yeah,
for a further like dialogue.
What about when sometimes I definitely don't want the conversation? It's really bad because I don't want conversations half the time. But someone will ask if I'm cool, and I'll be like, yeah, I'm cool. And then I know that it's just manners to ask, are you cool? And I know that I'm not trying to do this conversation. And I might say, oh, yeah, you? And then they go into one, and I'm just like, I didn't want this. I didn't want it. And then you're trapped in this conversation and you're trying to, You have
to be honest with yourself and you have to not ask them anything back. Just,
real talk.
Yeah, I'm good, so, and just keep it moving, yeah?
Keep it moving. You have to sometimes be like, yeah, I'm cool, do you know what? I'm in a bit of a rush, but it's really nice to see you got to go. You keep it moving.
Exactly, keep it moving.
Oh, mate.
Responses. We need to, in life, I feel people need to get better at them. The authentic responses. I don't want to know how you are. I'm not asking you back.
It's true. It's true.
I ain't doing that thing out of politeness, man. I ain't got time for it.
Oh, I do it all the time. And I'm just like, even if in a message, and I'm trying to think of other ways to type it that won't invite conversation that I don't want right now.
Yeah. It's like even those boundaries. Again, it's about boundary setting. Somebody says to you, oh, do you want to go out? No, I don't fancy it. I'm going to feel bad because, you know people you talk to and they're like, oh, God, I got to go to this thing. I don't want to go, man. So why are you going?
Yeah. No, I won't go. Like, I literally won't go if I don't want to go. But then what I do have to sometimes to catch myself is giving a whole explanation about why.
Yes.
That's what, I know I do that sometimes. Or I start typing the whole explanation. I'm like, what am I telling?
Right. Yeah. No is a full sentence.
Yeah, true.
Facts.
It's true. I need to learn that one.
You need to learn that one.
Yes.
I change it to just telling myself yes. That's what I do. Because sometimes we like saying yes so much. So you go, okay, change it to tell yourself yes, isn't it? So when you're saying yes to you, sometimes that might mean saying no to somebody else. But you're saying yes to you. So you're so beautiful at saying yes. Learn to say yes to yourself then. The same way you're quick to say yes to everybody else, just say yes to you first. Naturally, that will say no to that which isn't right for you.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
This is it. Plenty gems tonight, mate. Right, so I want to know, how do you support someone who's always down in the dumps every time you speak to them? So it could be a friend that maybe you were speaking to a lot before the pandemic, and then since it's just like every time you phone, it's just like, woe is me constantly. How do you even protect yourself, but you still want to support them? I can see.
I see
about to say something so bad.
I don't even know what she's saying.
I could just.
But for me, I do a Jada. I love you from afar. You understand?
Yeah.
Like certain time, like I'm always looking after me and my energy and my vibe. I'm first, but I don't just think about me only. I also consider how that might affect other people. But ultimately, I've got to do what's right for me. That kind of goes back to what I said to you just a minute ago. I say yes to me.
Yeah.
So if saying yes to me says no to you, oh well.
Yeah, for real.
It's not mine. Obviously, I'm there for that person. Like I said to you, I can't lose sleep over other people's stuff. I can't make what is somebody else's mine. I used to make everybody else's stuff mine, and it made me sick. I can't give from my cup. What comes out of the cup is for everybody else. What's in the cup is mine. Nobody gets from my cup. You can get from my overflow and my overflow only. And if you've taken every inch of my overflow and all that's left is in my cup, unfortunately, you've run out your things.
Internet credit done.
Done. I'm in my cup now. So until it's overflowing, you can't get nothing.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. I can literally, as you're speaking, like people are flashing up in my mind. All the people that I know that give, they've got the cup upside down, draining out the cup to give to people.
I'm tired.
My mum's a classic example of that.
Yeah, my mum too. My
mum will give everything to everybody else, including myself, and I get that I'm her son. But my kids don't get before me. You understand? They don't get before me because without me, where are they?
I feel like the whole audience went.
They don't.
I know. No, but I
find that hard when I say it. But my kids don't get before me. Like it's like if this conversation, like any relationship for me, if I'm giving everything to you, where am I in this relationship? So how are we us if I'm giving everything to you? Where am I in the relationship?
That's the thing. I think it's a wording thing as well, because when you hear those words, you'll think
anything. Yeah, when you hear anything before children, you're like
what? Your children before you? But actually, this is, we say this a lot to parents. It's like happy mom, happy child, happy father, happy child. So actually, you're just and like the children are running around and everything's great, but you're just there, tired, depleted. What do you possibly have to then give to your children if you ain't got nothing?
1,000%. We've all been on a plane before. Have you not heard the analogy? When they say like, emergency, when the mask comes out, make sure you put your mask on first before you help anyone else.
Yep.
So if somebody is finding it really difficult during this pandemic in order to mentally stimulate themselves or emotionally, I totally understand. But I need to put my mask on first before I help you with yours. Done.
Exactly. Well, I wanted to ask a question back though, in a way, in terms of, I think it could be very easy for us to be like, so because I was whispering, stop talking to them. That's what I was whispering. But because I think what ends up happening is like, what if this is your mum? What if this is your sister? What if this is your husband of 25 years? So it can be simple to kind of be like, stop talking to them. But if it's somebody that's a bit that connects closer, you do want to at least, I feel like, give the information. And I think for me, I am a kind of an information sharing queen. So I will be very quick to identify the fact that, listen, I feel like you need support that I can't fully give you.
Yeah.
Here is a counseling list. Here is a yoga class. Here is a running club. Here is a whatever that I find might be able to support you better. But if I continue to engage in what you're giving out, I'm not really gonna be doing too well. And I think that is the type of thing we can do even with people. Do you see what I mean?
That is exactly what we do, but it's still the don't talk to them. You're still right. You've offered them a service, but you ultimately can no longer speak to them. So it's still not
just
talking
ignore
to them.
your own husband in the kitchen, just no.
This is the thing. I liken it to the fact that I have a family member who shall remain nameless, who is very, will always, it's not necessarily a down in the dumps, but will always come back with the same problem, the same. And what I actually just did was say, I'm not talking to you about X.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying don't call me. I'm not saying don't, but the boundary that I had to put into place with that family member, because they're a family member that's not going anywhere. So, the boundary I just had to put into place was, look, I can't do this with you anymore. This is what I suggest. This is what I think would be really helpful, blah, blah, blah. Everything else we can do, here, I can't do that. But I think if you went to this, and this, that could really help you with that. Focus. And now that I've laid that boundary down, if I get a text message and it's got something about the thing I've agreed not to talk about, it's blue ticks. I mean, this is not much else. Because I've put that boundary
See my
down.
blue tick, boy. See my blue tick. No response.
No response. And you can't get angry with me because we've discussed this and we've set the boundary in which I've said, I'm not talking about this bit here. I've said yes to myself, Dwayne. I've said yes to myself.
That's it.
I love that. I love that. Thank you for saying yes to yourself. I do too.
Saying yes to my, I'm changing my status on my WhatsApp. Saying yes to myself.
Yes. Facts.
Right. So I've got 2 questions that I do want to cover. There's one that I don't like anymore, so I won't answer that one. Is this our new normal? And what do you see for the future? This meaning just how we're living now. I mean, no one knows how long we're going to be like this. Yeah, could you imagine? I have never even imagined this situation. Not even just thought, oh, imagine one day this happened. Not even close.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, sometimes you imagine mad situations, like this has never been one of them.
Yeah.
But imagine it happening without the tech that we have right now.
Imagine if this
happened. For me, it's just like, yes, our new norm, but it's evolution, isn't it? This is what happens. You know, it's part of evolution. So what are we going to do? We're the most evolving creatures on the planet.
It's true.
We're going to deal with it. That's what we're doing now. That's why you've come up with this show. Like, this is how you're speaking, you're dealing with one of your stuff that you were finding difficult to deal with, which was speaking. You're doing it. You should be celebrating that. You should be applauding yourself. You should have an awards behind you right now. One award just saying, right, I did it. I did that.
I'm sure I could get on Amazon.
Buy it.
I'm sure I've been
so I just feel like we're going to deal with it, isn't it? We're going to deal with this new norm.
Yeah.
What else can we do?
I do feel like this is our new normal. I do think that a lot of industries will now have worked out, we ain't got to pay for offices. Like,
100%.
Like, oh, we don't need you all in the same room. Oh, you know, and I think that is it's gonna click, you know, in terms of money saving. I'm sure there's little techies running around working out how much money, however many different industries have saved. So I feel like the working element of certain industries is definitely going to be the new normal. As a, you know, self-professed carnival queen, I am distressed.
Of course.
The future, because I'm just like, there are a lot of cultural things, there are a lot of celebrations, there are a lot of things within my life, a lot of Black people around me, in which our togetherness is part of that being.
Yeah, I mean, connection is key. That's why we're here as human beings. So yeah, I totally get it.
So I'm coming from a level of, I know it hasn't been a question, but I'm also coming from a level of, as Black people, how we heal from things that have happened throughout this year and through history, but throughout this year, how we heal if we continue to have this enforced separation.
Agreed.
That's a huge concern. In terms of referrals to my therapeutic service, doubled, tripled with Black self-referrals, with people saying, I need a Black therapist.
100%. I've been saying the same.
I need a Black therapist. I have the lack of connection, the loss of togetherness, all of those things. How are we supposed to heal? So in terms of what you see for the future, that does concern me, because it is a bit like, okay, take away the feathers, take away the nakedness, take away the sun and the big tall Rasta man on road. Take all that away. You know, carnival is about togetherness. It's about a struggle, an upheaval, a celebration of everything. So yeah, that does concern me.
What do you see? So imagine if we took away the virus, if it disappeared tomorrow, but obviously everything's changed, the way we're doing things. Like you said, most people are working from home, if they're working. You know, not everyone's lucky to be working. A lot of restaurants and stuff have been shut for how long, or shut down even. I mean, the economy, I don't know how they're coming back, because I keep seeing them pulling out billions just from places to pay for things. So I'm like, where did all that money come from, first of all?
The economy is coming back by like them still sending us to work. Even though we could supposedly dead from COVID on the road, they still want us to go to work. They still want the frontline staff to go in. They still want us, you know, I think congestion charge is now what, Isn't it 24-hour now?
I believe it's 24-hour, and I believe they've widened it and like made it or brought it closer, whichever way you want to see it. But yeah, they've made 24-hour bus lanes, I think, as well now.
Yeah, they're doing the most. They just know that that's how they're getting their money back. They know that people are gonna constantly. So there's going to be a lot more people in debt.
Yep.
Because they will be, do you know what I mean, going into the wrong area and not paying tickets and all of that kind of stuff. And I suppose like one thing that like Bishop always says, Wayne Malcolm from my church, he always says that there's always opportunities within we call it not disaster, but you know, when there's a situation, there are always opportunities to be found. And like he always says, like look at the industries that won't stop, like people will never stop eating. So even though restaurants are closing down, that's just a way of, but people will still find a way to eat. They still need food. So do you know what I mean? So there are things that people need all the time. And unfortunately, arts is one of the things that I thought would just be forever. And then the arts are suffering madly now because they don't have the venues. They can't get together. I don't know. It's just like we really have to put on our futuristic glasses and, you know what I mean? Look at
we'll find a way. Happened. We'll find a way, because that's the thing about the arts. We're creative. So we'll find a way around it. You know, no, it's not going to be straight away making the same amount of money and blah, 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 but we'll find something new which will create new ways.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Even over COVID, you know, all these Zoom parties that popped up, all these things. So now it's like, okay, on the one hand, because I was saying to myself, on the one hand, it's really sad because they're probably going to be like, well, hold on a second. Why am I going to fly in a DJ from Atlanta when actually I could just pay him to stay in Atlanta and DJ on his laptop and let me project it to the Fet? You know, so yes, fair enough. It may not be the same amount of money, but I feel like you said, the arts will always find a way. It's social distanced choirs. Choirs will still sing. Choirs will still find a way. It's just, it will take time.
Yeah. It will take time. Like even
for us coming back together, we'll celebrate that, because we'll come back together, but then we'll be coming back together in a way that is just even better than it was.
And I feel like some people who are in the arts, like whether it's dancing, singing, etc., and haven't been able to perform, they might at that time before they, you know, had to stop, they may have looked at it as a job, you know, like after a while it starts to become a job. And this happening now is reminding people that no, actually they love it, that it's part of them. So I reckon when they get back to it, they'll fall in love with it again, because it's like,
1000%.
wow, it could actually be taken away from me. Do you know what I mean?
And let me tell you, you see that first Fet, yo. You see that first feather.
Don't forget me, because I need to be there, please.
Yo.
Feather, that first gem, that first chip.
You're gonna have to post something, boy. I'm gonna need to see what's cracking at that first one, boy.
Right.
It's gonna be an absolute madness. And that's the thing. It's again, it's that positive journey. It's like, yeah, right now we can't fit. Yeah, we can't go to carnival. Yeah, we can't be together. But that new love, when eventually this is when eventually it happens, that new zest that it's gonna come with, it's gonna be I'm getting excited.
The opportunities, man. The opportunities.
Yeah.
Like, you're getting gassed just off the thought of it. Like I'm almost there with you because of how gassed you are. Like gas mark 11. I'm with you.
11 teen.
Mate. Emma said Instagram's Versus was a great example of keeping the arts alive.
Exactly.
Yes. I was up at all hours watching them.
Yep. Yeah.
Loved it.
What happened to them? Did they stop? I just realized I haven't thought about them.
Wow. They had a break, and then they're coming back with remember there was the whole Busta T.I. drama, because T.I. tried to go against Busta and T.I. said no. So now it's T.I. and somebody called Jeezy. I have no idea who Jeezy is. No clue.
Yeah, don't even go, I don't know.
No. Sorry about that. Yes, so sorry, I was trying to find something. I heard something on the news about, I was watching this morning, it was either today or yesterday, and they were talking about the arts, and they said, I can't remember if it was Spain or Italy, that's what I was trying to find online just now, but they have pumped a lot of money into the arts and the performers basically, and giving them a lot of money because they know that it's something that's needed. Like the way they're treating it is nothing like how the UK are treating it. Because these decisions are made by people. When you look at all the people that are making these decisions, they're not really into it. So they're making decisions about things they don't know about.
Yeah, exactly.
1,000%.
Yeah. And that's, to be fair, that's the government all over. That's why they don't feel that they need to feed children, because they've never been hungry in their life.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's why they don't. They're telling, what did that guy say, that all the people in the arts should just go and retrain? Oh, okay. Well, maybe you should just go be a doctor tomorrow instead.
Right. Yeah.
So it's
such a stupid comment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm seeing so many remixes of the advert as well. It's been,
loads of remixes.
And this is why the internet will always win, because again,
everyone's a creative on the internet.
Positive journey, because that, people would have been mad vexed, but then some of the memes, the gifts, the little things that we could just, we can work through it, because you're chatting foolishness, but we can work through it. It's all right.
Exactly.
This is the last question that I had kind of ties in. What is the best thing that's come out of all of this? For me, it's been the memes. I'm not going to lie. I will sit there and I'll be cracking up at my phone. I'm like, why is everyone a comedian?
Yeah.
For me, it's been the opportunities, like you said, like I've just made more opportunities. Like I'm connecting in new ways. I'm with myself and with my loved ones, my friends, my family. I'm finding new ways to evolve and be. So for me, it's been the opportunities. I've had really good opportunities from this, even though it's been very annoying, financially frustrating. The opportunities outweigh all of that.
Yeah.
I think for me, sly plug, virtual rum tastings.
I'm yet to join in.
Now
I'm looking to land.
Right. Yes. So Carnival. So the Carnival business that I have, Carnival Concierge UK, we were like, last year was our first year at Notting Hill, and I was like, oh my gosh, people are gonna forget us. What are we gonna do? Virtual rum tasting. So basically, we deliver rum to your house. You join us on the Zoom. We got a little mixologist, makes up the drinks and the cocktails. You get fresh in your house. Win-win.
Well,
so yeah.
About that life.
That's what I'm saying. Was there a particular day that you do it? How often do you do it?
Oh, it's now gonna be the third Friday of every month. So our next one is our November special. So we're going to be raising funds for the November charity as well. Friday, 20th of November at Carnival Concierge UK.
Okay, love it. Love it.
All my days.
Fantastic.
So yeah.
Yeah. So what about you, Dwayne? I know you're doing your sketches and stuff. I've been seeing.
Yeah, for me now, I even took, guys, that's 41. I'm a big fan. I had to do a full-on crash course on TikTok. I had to figure it out and just get someone to really help me, because I'm not a tech person, and I've got used to Insta, I've got used to Facebook, so I know the formula with that. Like I said to you, whatever you do consistently becomes easy. So I know what's cracking, but the moment they add new things, like on Insta, they got this Reels thing now. I'm like, what is this? What is this life? I don't understand. So all of these new things, I'm like, well, I need help with that. So I have to find people. What I've realized with me, I'm not a huge guy that likes books. I don't read books. It's not how I learn, but I listen to good teachers. I love when somebody's interested in something. It intrigues me. So I know a lot of people that are just tech savvy. So I just started talking to people that I know. I got a friend who helped me with the TikTok. So now that's my avenue to get my sketches and my acting and just doing things that I like, because I find like it's kind of a young man's game, obviously. And although
there's some people doing a lot on TikTok,
exactly. And for me, it's not like obviously I do want to make money, but the money isn't what drives me. Making money isn't what drives me, because that isn't how I made my money. It's basically me enjoying what I do. And when I enjoy what I do, when I invest in me, I know that then I make money. I know that as a fact. So I've just decided during this pandemic, invest back in yourself, Dwayne. Yeah. And that's what I did. That's why I said the opportunities of investing back into myself in every single aspects. Like, so I'm an all-round entertainer, motivational sharer. Invest in that, and that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, all round singing, dancing, hosting,
Everything.
everything.
I'm not a stripper, but everything.
Actor.
Everything up until that point. That's the line.
People will DM me, you know, say, Ruben, so what? You strip Ruben, and I got gigs, I got big. No, bro, that's not what I do. I heard you're a dancer, bro. No, bro.
Yeah, no, I saw a program, what was it? Stripping stuff. What are they called? Chocolate something.
Oh, Chocolate City.
I don't know if it was Chocolate City, but it's something like that.
What you're talking about, but I forgot what it's called too. But there was a lot going around.
I could see you in there, you know, on a one.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I understand what you're saying, but what I'm trying to say to you is, where you can see me, my mum would have to see me there too. Yeah. So, because once you know what I mean? Like, not that I ain't done some stuff during my dancing days. You have to take off clothes. Okay, that's cool. But to actually say that's gonna be my job, I don't know. But although there are like Magic Mike, that's a good show. I know I got a couple mans that do that show, and that's a good show. Do you know what I mean?
That's what I was thinking of. Is that the one? Was it on Channel 4? Did they do?
I think Magic Mike was on Channel 4. I think so. But like, there's a few of them. There was the chocolate one that was going around with the man that become. I forgot what it was called, man. It was Chocolate City or something.
Yeah, Chocolate City was crazy. Yeah, yeah.
Them things there. Mans was like, Ruben, imagine this was a girl. I was like, no, I don't want to be a part of that one.
That's a lot of things.
And then imagine your daughter going out on her 18th, 19th, and her girls took her out, and then it's like, oh, that's dad. No.
Why would you even? Like,
sorry, I just ended your career, innit?
I thought you was gonna be like, I'm not gonna lie, you threw me because I thought you just be like, she was just there, she's gone out with friends and she's at them kind of shows. You go, what can I do, man? She's a big girl, she's gone to the shows. But you said I came on the stage. I didn't experience it.
Oh wow.
You know, I came out and her friends were like, hey.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's too much.
That's too Wow.
They would tip me though. I'll just let you not know. They would tip me. I'd still be good. No. Let me stop it. It's inappropriate jokes.
You would. My friends were like that about my dad. It's annoying and disgusting. Oh, mate. Anyway, it's been a lot of fun. That was the last question that I had. And you guys have really, really given me a lot to think about. And I hope those who watched, because people will be able to watch this back as well, so those who are re-watching or come back to watch it, I hope you've got a lot from it. The contacts are on the flyer. Dwayne Nosworthy official.
Yes,
right. I love that. And Rasta Barbie 84 is you, isn't it? That's right.
Yeah. But there's also Trusay Emalo is asking at Carnival Concierge UK for the virtual tastings, Friday 20th of November. Make sure you join in.
Right. I'm gonna add the tag onto the YouTube description just so they know what's going on. But yeah, thank you guys so much. It's been really amazing.
Yeah, it's been good.
I'll see you guys at the rum tasting, it looks like.
1000%.
Yes.
I will have a lot of fun there.
All right.
So I'm gonna shut.
See you later.
Yeah, I'm gonna shut this down. You guys stay there 1 sec. I'm just gonna end the broadcast.
All right.
I know messages seem to come through sometimes when because they're a little bit delayed. Hold on.